Hey everyone, Jocular Claymore here, and welcome back to Disco Elysium. So last time we had a standoff with the Mercs who were waiting for us outside the Rolling in Rags, and unfortunately we weren't able to save everybody, but we did manage to save Titus, Kim, Eugene, and Aline, but the other Hardy Boys were killed. I think Elizabeth is okay, but we haven't seen her since. And 2 days passed because we passed out from getting shot, but we're okay. We just have the limp. And Clausier's gone, and she left us a clue in her bedroom telling us that the sniper shot came from an island across the bay from Revachol. So Kim and I have decided that we're going to go investigate that, and I'm fairly sure that that's the end of the game. So without further ado, let's get into it.
What's on your mind, officer?
We need to get to that island.
That won't be a problem. It's wind still and the tar just dried. We've got 2 days of relative sunshine ahead.
What's on that island? I saw some kind of ruins through the binoculars.
Used to be some kind of fortification there before the war. For the communards. An anti-aircraft gun, I think, bombed to bits in the landing. I haven't been there myself. Always steered clear of it.
Hasn't been there herself. Who has then?
You said you haven't been there yourself. Who has then, if not you?
My husband used to drink there. Him and his drinking buddies. Always seemed like a bad place to drink to me. People died there during the landing, you know. My mother told me.
This must be one of the many fortifications that was used in the dying days of the revolution against coalition forces before they took this city.
The kids sometimes go there too. I know they do, on rafts. I tell them not to, but they bring back old bullet casings and such.
Which kids?
The twins. God forbid they bring the girl along on some rickety barge.
Interesting.
Can we maybe ask your twins about that place before we go? Would that be alright?
Be my guest. They've a strange way of talking. See if you can get anything useful out of them. I seldom do.
Is there anything I should know about getting there?
Well, most of it's sunken. Underwater. That means concrete underwater. Cut your boat if you're not careful. Be sure to enter from the south side. Water's deep there.
South side, got it.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Can we borrow your boat?
If you promise to bring it back. And no scraping the hull. I just got it nice and yellow. And no drinking on the boat. And no joyriding either.
Of course, ma'am. It's only for a day or two. Official police business.
Aye.
Nod along attentively.
The crow's feet disappear from the corners of her eyes as she smiles at you.
Thank you. We'll use your skiff to get there then.
Please be conservative with the fuel, will you? Just filled her up, but it's a small tank.
But let's talk to the twins first.
The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone while the other watches him do it.
Okay, kids, you've been to that island, right?
On that island?
Yes, that one. I need to know what's there.
That's, nothing. It's just a seafort and some plants. You can take a raft there. It's great. And we make a fire. We make a fire.
They're cute.
Mm-hmm. Gather the sticks for the fire. And bullets. Or not real bullets, empty bullets.
Bullet shells. There are a lot of them left over from the war, but this could be important.
Wait, you mean shells?
I don't know what these are.
What then?
They're lights. The fire guy comes and asks us to put the fire out.
They must mean a human being on that island, but it's cut off.
Someone lives on the island?
No.
Hmm.
Yes.
Hmm.
Let's go with yes.
Why is he the fire guy?
Because he asks to put the fire out.
Why does he ask you to put the fire out?
I don't know. He doesn't like it. He don't like people to be there. You shouldn't go. Yes.
Because he doesn't want to be found. Smoke traces.
You mentioned something about lights?
I don't know.
I wonder if they actually got kids to voice them.
Did you mean there are electrical lights?
Yes.
Is there anything else you can tell me about this guy? Age? Does he live there?
No, he doesn't live there. I don't think. No, he lives there. Been there twice, 2 times. He doesn't live there. He isn't there sometimes.
Conflicting information here.
Anything else? What does this guy look like?
I don't know.
How come?
We ran. He just yelled we shouldn't be there.
Your father used to go to the island too, didn't he?
Our father killed himself.
Aw.
Don't say that, he didn't.
Just say nothing.
I'm sorry.
Is that all you know? Is there anything more you can tell me about the island?
There's
There's a what?
Lights, fire guy. We should check up on that island.
A skiff with a small steering engine in the back floats on the calm mirror of the sea. Its 2 seats are empty. Once you get in, that's it. One pull of the starter handle, and you're off into the bay. A strange trepidation comes over you. Are you sure you want to go now? Have you made all the necessary preparations? Closed all your accounts? Remember what the net picker said. It's a small tank. You won't be going back and forth on this.
Yeah, might as well. Let's do it. We're looking like George Washington crossing the Delaware. I think it's the Delaware, right? Oh, this song. I do love this game soundtrack. So that must be the island. Looks like an oil spill there. I heard disco in the song.
The boat comes to a slow stop. The lieutenant turns the engine off. Then there's silence. In the silence, a sputter of wings. A flock of quails takes off in the distance.
Let's go.
All right. Let's see. A makeshift bridge. The bombs were powerful enough to break the foundation. Yeah, and we learned that this island used to be, a fortification. I think during the revolution. The rusted chain trails off into the ocean.
The chain trails off into the ocean, connecting the island to the supply depot on the coast.
This leads to the depot in Land's End.
Ah, yes, so it seems.
What do you think it was used for?
For bringing munitions to the island, maybe? And supplies? You could also lock the bay when you raise the chain.
As a defensive measure, lock it off that side of the bay.
Lock it off from whom?
From enemies. Enemies of the commune of Revachol. This sea fort was a revolutionary fortification, I believe.
Okay. Oh, there's this here. These tires are falling apart. They're at least 50 years old. Tires? Tiers? I don't know. Okay. I have no idea what to expect, honestly. Some fuel has leaked out of the barrel. Black, viscous. Attention, inflammable. Isn't that word funny? You would think that the word inflammable means not flammable, but it does mean flammable, so... At least that I know of. Wait. What's this?
The dry grass crackles under your feet as you stop. Far away, birds' wings touch the still surface of the sea.
What is that flutter?
The flock of quail departs. Now more than 100 meters away, 102, 105.
Underneath the flutter.
On the islet, there is almost no wind, just the light movement of air through the reeds. Bulrushes swaying on the waterline. Long dried leaves chafing against each other. Like a silent orchestra tuning at the beginning of some major work. Of great importance to the few who attend.
To the west.
A silent hiss. Sea air moving through the needles of a pine tree.
To the east.
The faraway roar of the city, distant like today's dream. Before it, the sound of sand. The low tide filtered through its grains. A bird tending to its feathers.
Ahead.
A low hum. The air slowly moves through a concrete box, through its ancient slits and cracks, resonating, hollow. A big building.
Beyond that, further north.
Air flows out of a pillbox window. There is very little there. The air cossets flowers on a meadow. Absolute silence. Reeds motionless. Bulrushes motionless.
Below the silence?
A jitter. A sound impatient to happen, but not yet in this world.
Kim.
Yes?
It's really fucking silent on this island.
It is. Is that why we are stopping?
Mm-hmm. Wait, I have to listen to one more thing.
The lieutenant nods in silence.
No, I guess that's it. Interesting. This barrel says ICM. You see a star with little specks in it. I know the star is associated with communists. You recognize this little birch from the coin-operated viewer. No way to get up there. The stairs are gone. Alright. Can we cross to the other side? Oh,
Yes?
oops. No, there was something else. Be careful not to fall. The cliff face looks steep. Thanks. I saw a blue there.
ICM? This feels familiar somehow.
A white star.
No, an upside-down star.
With its horns in the sky, the symbol of the commune.
Yeah. Kim, what is the ICM?
Insulindian Citizens Militia. It's the official name of the Communards Army, the black and white army of the revolution.
See, I've been paying attention.
Sounds an awful lot like.
RCM. It sounds like RCM, Revachol Citizens Militia.
It does.
Why?
The RCM may descend from the ICM.
May?
It's impossible to say. It was chaos after the war. The name was good for getting people to join us. Revachol West was mostly workers and criminals.
Wait, so the RCM, that's the police department, right? They may have descended from the communist organization? Is that what they're saying?
Nice political thoughts rush through your neocortex. A mediocre athlete would pant from dragging around his body on a busted crutch. But not you. You're thinking about politics, with blood dripping down your thigh.
What I'm hearing is we descend from the glorious Revolutionary Army.
There were all sorts of groups and groupuscules back then. It doesn't really matter.
Are those specks stars too?
No, that's the uninhabited archipelago.
A DeLorean-era symbol of Insulinda, known as the face in the sea.
Looks old. What's it still doing here?
After 44 years? That's not nearly enough to hide what happened here, Lieutenant Gefreiter. One of these barrels was still leaking fuel, as you saw. The city is full of things like this. Old bullets, guns, fuel.
Got it. Oh. Oh, okay. I think that was a bug. Alright, so it looks like we can't cross here. Yeah, I see a thing there. Maybe we need to go through the structure first. So I guess let's try that. Let's get a flashlight. This was once an armament rest. Twin cannons were attached here, medium distance, large caliber. Careful, these stairs have collapsed.
An old cylindrical generator is nested above the ammo lift, with makeshift electrical wiring running out of its side and across the floor. The cables disappear into the wall to your right. The lieutenant puts his hand on the metal barrel, checking for warmth.
It's cold now, but someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired.
Where do these wires lead?
Downstairs, somewhere?
What kind of generator is this?
Liquid carbon. I would imagine it takes mazout.
He points to the open fuel cap on the side of the dynamo.
The kind that's favored by vagrants and fuel thieves. It's been a long winter, long and cold.
If anyone stayed here, they'd need a generator.
What does this mean, a generator here?
I don't know. I'm not a philosopher.
I meant, why is it here?
Someone with basic electrical skills has restored it in order to keep the room warm. Maybe it's the fire guy.
The wind outside picks up suddenly, with a faint howl. Inside, it's warm.
Tap on the side.
A hollow ring. The canister is empty. Dust falls from the generator and down into the ammo lift.
Okay. Cool. Books, mostly fantastique and historical fiction. Dishes stained with sauce and fire, a survivor's kitchen.
There's a greasy old spring mattress in the corner, resting on piles of soft-cover books. White linen and a pillow are visible under a worn-out caracal blanket.
Someone has been squatting here. The linen is fresh, recently washed.
How recently?
You force the rest of the sentence out through pain, thick as molasses, no longer able to hear yourself speak.
What's going on?
You know, officer, you can rest here if you are feeling tired.
Oh.
I will keep watch. You could use some rest for what's ahead.
Well, it's nice, thanks, but we did just get rest, so.
Yes, anytime. If you need a rest later, it's okay by me.
Thanks, Kim.
You don't have to be a hero.
Got it. Alright. That's good to know. You see candles planted on a broken rangefinder.
Books and magazines lie scattered on the floor and on a makeshift cupboard. They are not particularly well organized.
Sift through them.
Most are soft covers, serialized fantastique and detective stories from the 20s and 30s. This disparate digest includes the classic Animal Adventures, popular depictions of man versus nature by amateur naturalists T&T Harpin, husband and wife, widely read by people from all walks of life. Who doesn't like nature? Who doesn't want to survive? Among what is mostly commercial fiction and serialized stories, you find a magazine cathodique for electrical engineering. Then it's back to pulp. Light erotica, an international thriller about circuit benders.
Someone's made themselves a home.
Does anything stand out as unusual? I mean, try.
Not that you can tell. This is a digest of someone who's dead bored. Most of it is for entertainment purposes, fittingly right next to the radiola on the floor.
Nothing? Nothing out of the ordinary?
Maybe it's a little old-fashioned. There's a nude mag. More than that, you can't say. The print in some of these is pretty small, though. This person has good eyesight.
And if they're our sniper, that would make sense. A moth-bitten bedsheet keeps the wind out. Winter scarf. +2 empathy, -1 composure. Sucks to be poor. Yeah, it does. Okay, what's this? Arrower shirt. +1 hand-eye coordination, sleeveless aim. And this looks like a picture of Mazov. So this person is... Well, this was a base for communists anyway. We don't know if it's specifically our fire guy who's a communist, but possibly. Hey, magnesium. Nice. This great blast door must weigh over 10 tons. Rust peels off it.
Green paint flicks off the monoblock aluminium cabinet. There are rows of switches on the front panel, a frequency band, and even a keyboard.
What's all this then?
The console of an anti-computation device. The generator upstairs, with wires coming out. They terminate here.
What does this console do?
Urgence, ouvert, allumé, radiodiffusé. Sounds like this device was used to control the electronics here. Maybe it still does.
This device was used to control the electronics in the room. It could open doors, control lights, function as a radio computer.
Let's try the lights.
Nothing happens.
Radio dial?
The dial slides under the glass, silently. You make out defunct stations on the UKV frequency. The words, Feld Insula, are written on the band.
Insular. This is an off-air radio computer, I believe, used for military communications.
It's an air-gapped system, an off-air military model. Its circuits are nearly impossible to bend, i.e., it cannot be remote-controlled.
Let's turn emergency open.
We need to restore power before using this, officer. The generator, it didn't look like there was fuel in it. We should look around outside. There are barrels all over. Maybe one of them still has something in it.
Got it.
The boat engine.
Or we could get some from the boat engine. Failing that, we could go back to the mainland. No, we can't go to the mainland.
But officer, then we would have to swim back to the mainland. Let's just look around, okay?
The consul stands by, mutely.
Alright. I guess we can go back. This hatch is jammed shut. Thank you, autosave. Oh. Yes. A firing slit. You can't see inside. It must have been a direct hit to take out such a huge chunk. The distant sound of cargo ships. Signal horns echo in the water. That's a cool sound. The reeds sway strangely. No, it's nothing. You sure about that? The ice cracks under your feet. Be careful not to fall through. Okay. The pain in your pelvis makes you wince. Then you continue. The inside of the fortress. You make out the console and the blast door. Okay.
There's a rain-soaked mattress on a concrete slab, only half covered by the crumbling roof. At the head of it, double embrasures, firing slits like two eyes in the wall.
B triple prime. This looks like a good place to shoot from.
Inspect the mattress.
A single-person mattress, modern, civilian use. Brand name, Marjorie. There's a fuel stain on the cover, along with cigarette burns. And an empty can of beans on the ground next to it, filled to the brim with cigarette butts.
Pick one out of the can.
The silhouette of a tobacco picker adorns the paper filter. The brand, Tio Moteri.
I remember that. Dio Mutiri, like the ones we found at Land's End, remember?
I may have been wrong when I said it wasn't important. This means the same person could have visited both locations. I didn't see any signs of smoking inside, though. If people live there, they keep it tidy. This here may also be a smoking spot.
Inspect the wall.
There's a firing slit in the wall in front of you, like a little window.
Look through the hole in the concrete.
The springs screech as you lean on the mattress and crane your neck to look out.
That mattress sounds super uncomfy.
A small piece of Martinez coastline opens up in the square in front of you, like a tiny landscape painting. 1 kilometer across the water. The ruins look familiar.
So that's over half a mile. On the left?
A towering skyscraper, its top floors shaved off by artillery fire. Capeside apartments. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A and 33B.
On the right?
The red chimney and collapsed back of the 4-story tenement in front of the Whirling in Rags, Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 10, the doomed commercial area.
And between the two? That's gotta be our
The
sweet spot.
box-shaped silhouette of the Whirling in Rags. Its sloped roof, a tiny fleck of light catches your eye on the rooftop, sunlight reflecting off the upstairs window of Clausia's room.
Motherfucker.
What does that mean? Do you have line of sight to the window?
More than that,
Kim, with a pair of binoculars, I would be able to see inside the room. Yes, there's an opening between 33A and 10. I can see to the roof.
A pair of binoculars? Or a scope of a rifle? You'd be prone, lying on a mattress, barrel resting on the embrasure.
cheek against a cheek rest, hand on the hair trigger, on a calm day like this.
Kim, I could make it. I could make the shot. I don't want to boast.
I think we have it. The origin of the shot. This is the sniper's nest.
He pats you on the back, 3 small pats in a row. Aw, thanks, Kim. He's so proud of me.
Affirmative.
Finally, better late than never. Why didn't we come here before? Booyah, master cop work. Finally.
In our defense, nothing pointed here. Many leads pointed elsewhere.
You're right. 6 people are dead. We could have prevented it. I don't know. You're right.
He looks north, over the fortification, then at the mattress. Then again, his face twitches.
Could the shooter still be here?
Where?
On this island?
He does not answer, just nods. With his back hunched, he looks around once more and says,
We should move now.
Scary. Manual save just in case. This looks like a fuel tank. Yep. A weathered artillery map showing coordinates in the Bay of Revachol. An old medicine cabinet newly stocked with Dramamine. And can we go down there? The winch is broken. Rust has eaten what remains of the chain.
A strange feeling, looking at the water. Maybe you should just wander off into the sea. Leave it all and walk in. With a bottle in your hand.
Why?
Perhaps there's someone there, under the water, waiting for you, where it has always been.
Smelling of tutti frutti and betrayal. Yeah, I think our ex-wife.
Maybe you know it's going to hurt.
Raise your sight.
In the still mirror of the bay, you see Martinez, reflected. Tall edifices of ruins reach into the water, like shimmering towers. And the shacks too. Pine trees and motor lorries, upside down. Islets and posts, like stepping stones, lead into the water in front of you. Go. Step in. It's been too long.
I wonder if that's a suicidal thought. Let's shake our head.
Floor.
Pour fuel into the tank.
The lieutenant assists you, holding the canister up to the fuel tank as you tilt. Dark brown, viscous fluid pours out, and the room fills with a chemical smell. There's a red starter switch on the side of the cylinder and a start rope on the other side. The lieutenant flicks the switch.
Pull the rope. Pull the lever, Kronk.
The recoil start wakes the old generator up. The machine sputters like an old warhorse before settling down to a rattle.
That should do it.
Okay. Other side. I guess we don't really need the flashlight in here. It's lit enough.
A dim golden glow.
It's on. Turn emergency open.
Automatic boot.
Could this open the blast door?
I think, yes. Let's see. That one. The emergency open.
Okay. Yeet.
The blast door opens with a series of clicks. A shaft of light appears, then widens as the light shines in.
Feels ominous. Whew. Now that is a big door.
After you.
What's there?
I don't know.
A thin wisp of smoke rises from a charred black fire pit. The wind picks up, then dies down again.
What if we get into another fight?
Don't worry. I have a gun.
I also have a gun.
I know. It was not easy to acquire.
You know, let's put it on just in case. And here we go. Is that the only interactable? A rubber dinghy is deflated, broken. Oh. Alright.
An old man, wearing tracksuit trousers, leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth,
The deserter.
then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours. Unclouded by cataracts, his eyesight is sharp.
Let's try this.
The lieutenant pulls his pistol from the holster.
You are a glorified night watchman. This is a service rifle. I can only lay it down before an enemy commander of corresponding rank.
Kim?
The lieutenant aims his pistol square at the man's forehead.
Put it down now, sir.
Or you're gonna blow my brains out before you question me. To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway. It's out of bullets.
Like an amputated limb in the sand,
Pick up the gun lying in the sand.
his gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand, frame stocked and patched in places with tape and wire. Still warm from his parched hands. Not the metal. The metal is ice cold. This weapon has been modified several times.
Inspect it closer.
The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangon, 4.46mm, made in Sinyao.
This is a Triangon, made in Sinyao.
No one said it has to be a Belmagrave. We were just guessing.
From ballistics, it could easily have been a Triangon, too.
It doesn't matter if it was made in Shanti Shanti. All it has to do is use jacketed ammunition. And it does.
This uses jacketed ammunition.
The right type and the right calibre.
The rifle has been patched and modified several times.
I wonder how old it is.
The old man does not answer. He just stares in front of him.
Okay.
The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. His right arm twitches suddenly. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It could be used against him to get a confession. In time.
Who are you?
My name is Josef Lilianovich Dross, Political Commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol. I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my termless surrender.
His eyes turn to the reeds again, dead and dull.
The commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? You're a holdover from the...
From the Insulindian Citizens Militia, the army of the revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in '07, trained in the École de Contrôle Orient, and consigned to emergency defense duties in '08. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
You've been on this island for 43 years?
No. I've been on other islands, too. I was an resurrection until they turned it into a spa in '18. Then I was an E-48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was 22 years ago.
Again, you've been hiding here for 43 years?
43 years and 10 months.
That's insane.
It's not how a human being should live. But I had to. I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting.
He looks across the water.
Where it's morning, on Rue de Saint-Ghislain, people are walking. The gas streetlights have already been switched off. Further inland, in Jamrock, the streets come alive with workers. Men, women, children rushing. Muddy avenue after muddy avenue. The temperature is rising. Alto cumulus clouds form above Precinct 41.
Always waiting.
The old man turns his eyes from the shore and back to you. For what?
For her to return.
Her who?
Girl, child, revolution.
We got these nicknames. Tequila Sunrise. Or is it Tequila Sunset? I forget. Idiot Doom Spiral, those kinds of names. So we have Girl Child Revolution.
Always. No. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind and themselves. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore, however hard I try, whatever I do.
So that's why he's the deserter.
Hmm.
What can I do?
You said you deserted your unit?
I was just 16 years old, 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. And of courage, too.
Lapse of faith?
You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism. A second is all it took
For what?
for reaction to take hold.
What's reaction?
Petty bourgeois terror. It's in all men.
It wasn't reaction, you were just afraid. Yes, we all have a tiny bourgeois person in us trying to run away, and when was this exactly? You were just afraid.
It's the same thing. You haven't seen it. Not really. Not naked. It's impossible not to be afraid.
And this was when?
The lieutenant instinctively looks to his notebook, but does not take it out.
May the 13th, 08, 44 years ago. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like it formed the clouds. Storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic.
Dark magic?
The combined might of international capital. All at once, all the greed and terror in the world tore into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower, huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon, but I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room.
What then?
I ran. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers underground, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened of the ordnance all night and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring.
What was that?
Airships. I climbed out into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too, shattered. They'd all drowned in the lower levels, or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in reality.
Seen what?
The mask of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone, everything you love. All the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed. And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world. You see the fear and power in its eyes. Then you know.
What?
That the bourgeois are not human.
You've lost your mind. I've always suspected the same. That's definitely enough for now. Say nothing, let him finish.
I had to. I had to fight it. I had to never stop.
The old man falls silent. His black eyes keep piercing your skin as he looks to some great distance behind you, shaking his head slowly, retreating from it. Reminds me of the 1,000-yard stare, which is, I think, a symptom of shell shock, or today known as PTSD. What is this place, this island?
It's not an island, Dwat. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol, and I am its last surviving defender.
What was it used for?
The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing. Against the whole world.
You mean the landing? Retaking a Revachol?
Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow. I later found out on the radio they called it Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone.
First, I'm not one of them. Coalition military, someone who's come to end this madness. Murderers, I know what you mean. Tell me something else. I'm not one of them.
Sure you are. You're RCM. Answer me. Who calls an operation against 50 million people Deathblow?
Murderers.
You don't know. You haven't seen it. Iblis.
Iblis?
The black-eyed angel.
How have you survived all this time?
How does anyone survive? I steal.
Now hold on there.
That's a choice. You could have become self-employed, create the system. What do you steal?
Supplies, vegetables. I collect rainwater. It's the life of a dog, not a human being.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
Probably not good.
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stool, too.
He does seem frail. Gaunt for his age. More like 75 than 65. Trouble putting on weight could mean cancer.
The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns.
You also have Druamine.
We have Druamine and other opioid-based painkillers. You must be in pain. This is a serious situation. You need to be looked over and we can do it. How have you coped mentally? Let's go with this one.
There's nothing to look over. The triage is in, and it's black. Administer morphine. Moribund.
We have Druamine.
I have been running out of that stuff.
There's no way he could manage the pain without them. It's safe to say he is addicted to painkillers by now.
How have you coped mentally?
I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of...
His eyes roll into his skull and back.
I don't even know what. Inferno?
You notice the lieutenant is about to say something.
I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult, mentally, to live in isolation.
Traitors. It's better alone. I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on more and more each year. Ruins, glimmering in the dark, like a fucking merry-go-round. It's disgusting.
He looks down at his shoes, his face parched from the sun and the wind. There's a wince of pain in there somewhere. How have you concealed yourself all these years?
It was hard in the Thames. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. Floodlights on the water at night.
There were posters, campaigns.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Cold City were turned to dust. But Jamrock, Forburg, even Coron, And Boogie Street, of course. Those fucking kips had Marsoff coursing through their veins. And others too. Some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. Soon they all went silent. The frequencies dead.
How did you get between here and the mainland?
At night, I used a dinghy. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too. They'd started snitching.
In the city, you move underground?
From bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. I just...
He falls silent, his gaze fixed on the shacks huddled together across the waters. The weapons cache under St. Elaine 22B, in the basement. Have you been there?
So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Belmer graves, right?
They were damaged beyond use.
I know.
So you've been there?
Sleeping. Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were shit, even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however.
You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across. Wait, how did he get down there?
How did you access the building? It's locked. At least now it is.
I didn't have to. Came in through the storm drains.
Storm drains?
There used to be a system that connected the bunkers, tunnels and such, under the church and everywhere. Most of them are gone now. Collapsed. Just bricks. All the old infrastructure has...
There's a small bunker under the Fell building. Have you stayed there? I think that's where we found Ruby.
The propaganda bunker. I used to, but not anymore.
Propaganda bunker?
Yeah, that communist bunker, I remember.
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves.
Oh.
2 young boys.
Killed themselves?
A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins, on the ground.
Why don't you just walk there?
I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits, and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals.
One more question. Do you smoke Tio Mutiti cigarettes?
I do.
Ever smoke them on the mainland?
They're good. Plenty of tar. I like that boy on the pack, too. Reminds me of the last century.
Tell me another thing.
The old man looks across the water, at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it.
You said this is your termless surrender.
You're with the RCM, the coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol.
We're not coalition appointed, we just try to help people. That's right, we're with the good guys. We enforce the law, we keep these animals from killing each other. I know what it looks like, but I have secret plans to turn the RCM into a Mazovian revolutionary unit. We're with the RCM, let's leave it at that.
Let's. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, the Parti Communiste dans le Monde. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit. Rene, the royalist on the coast, said,
You never signed the Rovasholian Instrument of Surrender.
Liberal reactionaries signed that instrument. Traitors who should have been burned alive. I answer to the Communist Party.
Is that part of why you've been here all this time? Because the party didn't surrender?
He just wipes the blood from his chin.
Understood.
I don't think you did. You live in a delusion. Radio shows, speed racing, and sporting goods. It's not real.
So you're a communist soldier from the Communist Army. Yeah, we know that.
No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army.
But you said you were trained and assigned to the Defense Corps.
Trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something.
Wait, what does a political commissar do?
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds. You see a small tremor pass through his legs.
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the Commune.
Thank you, Kim.
Scientific communism. A commissaire politique is a knight philosopher of the revolution, a future human.
That means you're a trained communist, right?
He nods slowly. Then another tremor.
I'm also a communist. I'm a revolutionary too. Today, the real revolutionizing is done by entrepreneurs. I'm not really into politics myself, say nothing. I'm also a communist.
No, you're not. You're a liberast.
Liberast?
A liberal and a pederast. It's what most liberals are.
I'm not a liberal. I told you, I'm a communist.
Detective, we have not come here to discuss ideology.
I was just trying to, just trying to find common ground.
We have come to ask questions regarding a murder investigation.
I know, Kim.
The old man spits into the fire pit. He does not say anything more. A jitter passes his lower body. The expression on his face is unreadable. There's some sort of interference there. Neurological? There's definitely something off with his body. Something more than just metabolism, or even cancer.
I have another question for you.
There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce.
What have you been using this gun for?
I've used it for killing people.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war is never over.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. Go in straight. No euphemisms.
Oh.
He doesn't like those. No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal.
Okay, so go in straight, but be careful. Make him repeat it. So you're saying you kill people after active fighting stopped. Did you use that gun to shoot and kill a colonel? I know you want to tell me have you killed anyone. Wait, so which one did I say then? Let's go with this one.
What did I just say?
He keeps shaking his head erratically suddenly. He brushes something out of his eye.
What did I just tell you? Don't drop the ball now.
Did you use that gun to shoot and kill a colonel of the security contractor Cornell?
The who now?
He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it again. This is dramatic flair on his part. Right choice. We're in. Do it, sire.
The corpse in ceramic armor. The fascist death squad who took a bullet in the mouth on the night of March 4th. His name was Alice Courtenaire. He was part of a security detail. This one, I guess.
Oh yes, that one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
Did you kill him?
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the Commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
A drop of blood in the saliva. Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession. The gun. The murder weapon is the perfect opener. Something about the tracks. Suddenly, all those tracks are so confusing. Go with something else first.
I don't need your cooperation. I've got this. The rifle. We've done the ballistics. The shot came from the island. You're a communist. What am I forgetting? Alright, let's show him the gun.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistol. I've seen you prance around with that, jumping hoops for the liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting. So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
We saved a lot of them. Stop changing the subject. Stop changing the subject. We have the murder weapon.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it?
You think we have the murder weapon? I'm calling it. We have the murder weapon.
Good. This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Murder.
The old man does not say more. He just glances into the reeds and then twitches once more. We've done the ballistics. The shot came from this island.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession. You've been here a long time, Mr. Druss. Too long. You clearly need medical aid.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fascists for fascists. Done his part.
You said fascists. You're admitting you killed him. It's the best uninterrupted line of sight into that window in all Martinez. The view is perfect. Let's go with this one.
You're sad for your fascia brother, aren't you? One twig got broken. Now the others are sad.
Alright, I don't think we need to say this part. Come on, what am I forgetting?
Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof.
Oh, yes.
There were Maybells in the grass when you got here. They're revolutionary symbols from the war. Nowhere else, nowhere in all of Martinez have you seen them this spring. Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's bedroom. Now, they're gonna come up.
Of course, thank you, Head, thank you.
You got it. Remember, the boot prints were like no modern soul. Maybe don't beat yourself anymore, though. You're not immortal.
There were Maybells behind the victim's window.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them. So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away.
I haven't seen these flowers anywhere else in Martinez, only here.
They blossom on the islets before. We fertilize them with our blood. Resurrection was snow white in May, before they ruined it.
South, the Bay of Martinez is dotted with little freckles of islets, turning green, with white flowers in white snow.
The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with.
You must get around a lot to stay undetected all these years. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops?
I may.
A young woman called Clasier. Ring any bells? These dried flowers were behind her window.
Classier.
He knows her, but hadn't heard the name.
Yes, Claude. You hadn't heard her name, had you?
My ears don't reach the city.
You know her, right? She had intimate relations with the victim, the mercenary.
With the victim.
He turns his sight from the whitening field of flowers and falls silent. Then the muscles in his jaw twitch, a spasm.
There is a small tremble, looks like a smile, a crooked smile, yet isn't quite voluntary. He's about to burst. Don't leave any loose ends. Get him on everything.
I wonder what brand of boots you're wearing.
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa? Some shit.
Show me the soles, please, Mr. Dras.
Fucking imbecile.
The old man stretches out his leg. A black and white spiral pattern covers the sole of the worn out old running shoes on his feet.
The maker is called Sansariq, and the size is 42 to 44. These are not the unusual horizontal pattern soles you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size.
The size fits, but not the sole.
Wait, maybe it's simpler than that.
Sire, he doesn't have to be wearing them right now.
People change shoes. It doesn't mean you weren't there, near the room the victim died in, sneaking around.
Racking those brains, are you? Desperate to report something back to your masters? They must have really loved that dead fuck.
The lieutenant gives you a quick sideways glance and nods to acknowledge. The prints were his. You can see it in those eyes. He can't keep them from flickering, looking for something. The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance.
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer. Armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer. Dripping with blood.
He was a rapist. I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. He was a killer, but he was still under the protection of the law. He was a soldier too. He was a man. I don't like any of these options, to be honest.
Beating us to the ground. Moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner. Got your attention. Now you stop beating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
So you shot him.
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Revachol.
You can almost see him squeeze a tear out of his eye. His fists begin to tremble from the anger.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you, while the lieutenant listens, holding his breath.
Just nod.
I had them in my sights. Both of them. Him and the whore. I was breathing with them, in phase, and I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth. I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid look on his face. And his dick still in her.
Then what?
Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white, or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own. And so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
Yes.
Hmm.
And you were looking at them, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The lieutenant takes out his notebook slowly, very slowly.
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
Why were you looking at them that night?
I'm always looking.
He cocks his head to the side, then turns his eyes to the city. Another tremor passes his right side, lower in intensity.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle scope has the best magnification.
And if you don't like it?
Click.
You pull the trigger.
Yes. Think of it as a form of critique.
You got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift.
Hmm. What specifically did you not like about what you saw the night of the murder?
Them fucking. I didn't like that.
So you were jealous.
Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself, drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore. And I wanted to see his head explode. That too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd be there for one more second, writhing. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But you can't have everything.
The caliber of bullet he used does not do that kind of damage.
How long have you been watching her?
Since she came to Martinez, I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning, behind the Fell building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy outfit on then, just a spot in the night, moving.
Past the Fell building on the coast? What was she doing there?
Hiding something in the water. She had a bag after she'd done it.
A cigarette.
I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could see her, smoking. She was nervous, but not scared.
And beautiful.
What do you think she hid there?
Her passport and tickets to Villiers. And from there to Cachet Brut.
In the free state of Seminine, hidden away at the edge of the earth, near the Pale.
Some kind of hidden container on the coast? You looked into it?
Yes, after she'd gone. It was a submersible. Well made, actually.
Sloppy. We should have gotten her to tell us about this. Did you take the documents?
No, I put them back. Why would I take them? I'm not going to phone. Oh, I mean...
Moving on, did you continue watching her after this?
I did. She had a face like an archipelago, with those birthmarks. And a body, hard and lean and bruised all over. Black and yellow. I could see she's taken a beating. I could see who she was, too. A spook. On the run. Revachol's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms dealers end up here to do drugs and have sex like animals.
You could tell she was a spook? From the documents?
She had different color hair on the photo, and glasses. Forged. Some sordid bourgeois affair. I've heard about this kind of thing on the radio.
He's setting it up for you. The bruises. You can't make that out in a scope.
And you could see her bruises through the scope of a rifle?
You can't see bruises through a scope. It's just a blur.
Did you have feelings for that woman?
There's... there's nothing to hold on to. Only this. It's not enough.
The coals of his eyes glisten suddenly, like stones dripping with water. Is he crying?
Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye on something there. It's weakness, I know.
There have been others?
Yes, over the years. It's not unproletarian to feel something.
Was that why you left the dried flowers behind her window?
No,
Why then?
I don't really know. I was there one night and she was crying, like a child, in the corner of her room on the floor, like she does sometimes.
When was this?
The day after I killed him.
And you brought her Maybells?
Yes, I don't know why I do the things I do anymore.
You wanted to console her.
Maybe. I told you, I have holes in my brain now. I wouldn't just sit here waiting for you. If you came 10 years ago, I would have killed you.
In the silence, the lieutenant draws a line in his notes.
How does he know those minute details about her body?
It quickly comes to you.
The bruises on her body, any chance you've seen them through a hole in the wall? Ever see her through a window on a roof? Let's try this one.
Oh, yes. Cutting those drugs of hers into little lines with a knife. Masturbating.
Everything in him fills with impossible longing, all at once.
Did you make that hole?
With a clip-point knife.
Good for listening in, too, for hearing the moaning and the snorts.
Ever see her through a window on a roof?
Like that, too. Yes. Bending like a bow against the glass.
You've been through the secret route behind the whirling and rags. Those were your footprints there. You just changed your shoes.
I've been through all of Martinez. Every nook and cranny.
And that too.
Yes, that too. The things they did in that little room. What she'd do to feel good. Funny the way light works. You turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s, when they were still hunting me. I've seen people do some shit, but...
Those two took the cake. You hear the familiar scribble of the lieutenant's pen. A quick glance at you.
How did you get in there? The hidden pinball workshop.
I can just walk in there now after a good wash. I told you, they think I'm an antisocial. Closing hour is a good time. The kitchen's empty.
You had to open the steel door in the kitchen? How?
I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeois game merchant lived there. I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over, and I took one. Then I saw her turn the light on one night in my scope.
Andy found use for it. A spare key, like the one hanging behind the Union Box window.
One more thing. The flowers, Mr. Dross. The dried flowers that were on the roof.
What about them?
There, he's already admitted to it. Just ask.
Did you leave the dried Maybells behind her window?
I did. I shouldn't have. It was a mistake.
Why did you?
I was there one night, and she was crying.
Yeah, we saw this already.
Like a child in the corner of her room. The day after I... Yes. I don't... Maybe... If you came...
In the silence,
Yeah.
the lieutenant draws a line in his notes, then nods at you once more.
So in conclusion, it wasn't about him, it was about her.
Her.
He repeats, staring at the ashes, then the reeds. There's a twitch in the corner of his eye.
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement.
Where is she, that Clasier? I haven't seen her there for days.
She got away, we don't know where she is. She got away, but she let us here first. She figured out someone was watching from her. She got away, but she let us here first. She figured out someone was watching her from the seaport. We arrested her. I'm not at liberty to say.
I know she's gone. Locked up or on the run. She kept staring into the scope, you know. In the end, this last week, at the fort, like she knew I was here. It doesn't matter.
Midtown, across the Bay of Revachol, snow falls on 40-story towers. Above them, Lusan Central Aerodrome, a cocoon suspended in the snowy sky by a web of suspension wiring, encircled by hybrid aircraft.
Look north.
On the platform, a young woman is withdrawing from amphetamines, barbiturates, and alcohol. Yet still she smiles among the crowd, among the great ghosts of the city she's leaving, for another, far south. Smaller, distant, hidden, not like the great chandelier she sees sparkle in the night below her. Streetlights, towers, tenements, and water, and across it a dark strip of ruins, barely visible, if she didn't squint her eyes. He knew she knows. She was looking at the island, figuring it out, day by day, cigarette by cigarette.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
Who knows what he's seen and done over the years?
Let's try this one.
What strikes you about this gaunt man is not the stomach pain, or the cough, or the malnutrition. For a man who's spent 44 years hidden in the urban wild.
He is surprisingly okay.
Indeed, he speaks fluidly. His movements are rapid, if erratic. His voice, despite the cough, is there. It is capable of expressing complicated ideas. Above all, he seems animated.
Animated by what?
It's a mystery. This animation comes at a cost too. Erratic hand gestures, thought processes cut off like threads, as he just stares at the logs or the reeds. He also suffers mood swings, bubbling to the surface, unconstrained by his nervous system.
Dementia?
You've seen demented people before. This feels similar, yet different. When his thoughts move, they are lucid, keen even. Not senile. Is it some kind of substance damage? Like he's addicted to something? Not only the painkillers he's clearly on.
Mr. Dross, are you on some kind of a psychoactive substance?
No. I won't be stuffed full of shit like the rest of this city.
Okay, bro.
You said you take painkillers.
I take them to cope with pain. The people of this city use painkillers because they have pain. Untreated illnesses, not enough money for a greedy doctor.
Are you sure about him being lucid? Maybe he's just affected by an extreme case of socialism. It's not a downer, rather an upper, judging by his snaps.
Are you on amphetamines?
Like some kind of decadent rock star.
He doesn't dignify with more of an answer. Mr. Dross, are you okay? How is your memory?
No, I'm not okay. I shit blood, and I'm surrounded by insane people.
Yeah, makes sense.
There it is again. Erratic hand motions, bouts of rage, and the stomach thing too, of course. Could it be a symptom of overdosing on something? Something even you have not tried? Keep your eyes peeled.
Been looking at anything else you haven't liked?
A tragic comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers.
A strange little engine seems to fire up in him again. It straightens his back. The familiar put, put, put of hatred.
More specifically?
Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house. Stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst.
How come?
Because of the racists. Everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins, in their lorries. Pumped full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that Social Democratic Union and the farce of a Social Democrat who runs it.
Mr. Clare?
Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class.
Let's let him finish.
Not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins. In tents, like animals. Like those boom-boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs.
The ravers. He keeps shaking his head with sorrow for the sight he missed. That all?
The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht.
Joyce.
Licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, actually, no. The worst is that old cock parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day.
Renee.
It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins too. Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Koyamorang, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children. That's all the rich really want. Sex with their own children. Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old cunt, Frisell, is now dead. We did good when we pushed him under that horse car. If only, in the 30s, those disco whores...
The disco whores are too much. Hatred shuts down his brain's language center, leaving only a nonsensical sputter. There was something about a statue and nihilistic advertising agency people might be worth investigating. Boom boom morons on thin ice, going under. Those are the tent kids.
The boom 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 morons on the ice.
They were boom-boom imbeciles. At least they're not there anymore. What more is there to say? They're duped by bourgeois culture. I've seen that kind pop up, like worms after the rain.
What more is there to say? You've always got something to say.
Indeed.
I've heard it on the radio too, that boom-boom. It's the same violent decadence all over again for the 100th time. Misanthropy masquerading as culture.
Disco horse.
Horse.
Alright. There was something about the statue on the roundabout, and syphilis?
Syphilis is a disease Philippe III contracted in a whorehouse. The statue is an abomination.
Abomination?
The bacteria entered his brain and made him squander trillions on sparkling wine, cocainum, and monuments of himself. His son, Philip IV, the insane, contracted syphilis in the womb.
That is technically possible, although Philippe III was not actually syphilitic. He was just mad.
And he still went on to govern Revachol for 25 years. We lost 2 million lives toppling that mode of government. And those grotesque statues, too. Hundreds of them.
I like that we're kind of getting a recap of everything, like all the people we've spoken to, and we can get Dross's perspective on them. But it's still there.
What a keen remark. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's still there. Do you know why?
Because you forgot to take it down, because the king is holy, because the king is holy, ironically, but because cynical advertising yuppies directly equals version of it. I don't know.
I do. Some advertising cockroaches use their accumulated capital to erect a new, ironic version of it. We tore it down with honest, working-class plastic explosives. But there it is again, grinning. Art is a bourgeois establishment. It's an affront to humanity. Every gallery should be bulldozed, and the artists should all be given 30 years of hard labor in Yekokata.
I mean, I think art is for everyone, but okay.
Wait, the bullet hole in Philippe's heart. The statue had been shot. That was him. It had to be. He's already proven capable of taking a far more complicated shot from here.
It was you. You shot the statue. There was a bullet hole in his heart.
I did. A needless, sentimental gesture. I should have spared the bullet for a deformed monster of liberal capitalism. Shameful, really.
Yes, shameful. So many others to punish over the years. Isn't that right, detective?
That's it for the statue, then.
The fat union man let them put it there. Corrupt as he is. Probably got a fat check for it, too. Shared with the law.
You mentioned the Union is social democratic, and Mr. Clare a farce of a social democrat.
Another hideous disappointment. Unions are the real enemy. The true enemy of the proletariat. Placating the masses.
Disappointment. So personal. He displays a familiarity with the Union's top brass.
Who's a disappointment? Everard Clare?
That deformed toad? I wouldn't expect him to wipe his own ass. I mean, the brains of the operation. The smart one.
Doesn't Everard run the Union?
That mobster toad couldn't run a shithouse. He has no political education. His twin, Edgar Clare, that one's been to one of those East Revachol universities. He talks a big game about uprising and alienation and so on.
You've talked to Edgar?
First against the wall with him.
The Clares wouldn't miss a man hidden in their own backyard. Not all this time. Nothing happens in Martinez without them knowing.
Of course. Maybe the Clears asked him to.
Have you approached them?
I haven't approached anyone. I hid. It was Edgar who came to me.
How did he know you were here?
He didn't just stumble in like an oaf. He figured it out. Some kids told him about a monster on the island. I told you, he has brains. Stepped right off the boat and walked down where you came. I even kept the door open for him. Thought he was a man of the left. Wouldn't rat me out. I was right about one of those things.
When was this?
20 years ago. Neither of them could walk now, could they? They were less fat then.
That's around the time the Clears came to power.
What did you talk about?
Edgar did the talking. Paid his respects like I were a fossil in a uniform. Offered platitudes about the struggle. Flaunted his pink degree. Even quoted Marzoff. Never trust a social democrat who quotes Marzoff. Oh, and charity, too. They love their charity. Offered me blankets and social housing. I still have the gas cooker he brought.
And he let you be here?
Let me be here? The ZOC is an unlawful successor of the Commune of Revachol. We took this fortification from the Loyalists. Even the Clares understand this.
They let him be here. Understanding was a courtesy. But why such a courtesy?
Mr. Dross, did you kill the Cornell mercenary for the Clares to incite a riot?
You know why I killed that fucker, Dwat. As to Edgar, I'm not doing anything for that swine again.
Again? What have you done for Edgar before?
Tried teaching him some Marzovian socioeconomics. They didn't stick. We parted ways.
Okay, he didn't do the hanged man for them. But he's insinuating something.
What was the deal between him and Edgar?
The connection comes to you like a splash of cold water. Dark, cold water.
20 years ago, when you met Edgar, the Clares didn't run the Union yet, did they?
Hey.
He acknowledges it. Here we go. A twist behind the dark bend.
Who did?
That bourgeois cow. Tiffin Holly was her name. Licked the rich man's hand every time he came to town. Never seen a labor leader so hot on mutual cooperation. And money. She liked that too. That Holly was a real bridge builder and a deal maker.
And then she just disappeared.
Called in, they say, on the eve of battle. Ran away. Vanished like a piss stain.
No, that's not quite it, is it?
Did she? They say her daughter called in, not her personally. But that wasn't really her daughter, was it?
No, I guess it was not.
Edgar has someone make the call. Why is that, Mr. Dross?
She couldn't make the call herself.
Here it is, the bend in the river.
Why?
Because she was dead.
How come?
Because the cow caught a bullet in her right lung. Fell into the canal, grasping her tit, and drowned. Or bled. Hard to say. It was a sloppy job, on a moving target. She was going home, waddling, dressed in yellow, drunk like she often was. The ruins are black around her, and she had a yellow leather bag under her arm. She tried to cross the canal, heading home to Grand Couronne or Betancourt, someplace like that, where they build those new bâtiments for the people who flourish in the hell around her. And the ruins.
You shot her.
Someone shot her. Or maybe the cow just fell. My memory is full of holes. All I know is nothing changed. Not in the material base, not in the hegemony. There was no uprising. Just words. The Union fizzled, sogged. Nothing came of it. Nothing.
Edgar didn't keep his part of the deal. If you were to testify to this, give the RCM something on Edgar, you could walk. We would strike everything you've done and process you as a POW. You were in a war. You were on assignment. We could even extradite you to the Samaran People's Republic.
That would be interesting.
A degenerate worker state. Go shit. No, thank you. I'm Revacholian. My days are short. I will rot away here, in a moral intern cell. I will not testify to anything.
But you did do it.
I saw it happen, and I liked it. That's all I have to say. I didn't live and fight for 40 years to end up as a collaborationist. I've heard it on Channel 8, 40 AM, Radio Revachol, late night. Everyone is a blobber in this world. Everyone betrays everyone. They're all already locked up for betrayal. The best ones, the ones with heart, were slaughtered, trampled.
By the cock parading in his colorful uniform, you mean Renee?
Every fucking morning for 34 years. Throwing that ball. One ball against the other. I've always loathed that game. That is not a working class game. I don't care what they say on Radio June. Royalist ghouls played like it was life itself. Click, clack across the water each day. And that uniform, like a parrot plumage. I won't even mention that he's a traitor to his race. A petanque maniac race traitor.
Just let him talk.
I remember him. I remember him from La Noce. Not him, personally. His make and model. There were tens of thousands of them. I thought we took them all out before the Liberals came to their rescue. We missed one. That one.
There doesn't seem to be a single person under the pine today. Not even Gaston. Alone.
Fat and plump, like a pheasant, just begging to be popped off. Please, Mr. Dross, shoot me.
You'd like to kill him?
Not yet. I like to look at him strut around, place the crosshair on his medals, right on his face, and just fiddle the trigger. Think about it. Let the bonbon melt in my mouth.
I guess he doesn't know that Renee is dead. Gaston was telling us. I don't remember what he died of exactly. I think it was natural causes or a heart attack. I don't remember.
Save the treat for later?
He is a juicy bonbon, that one. A real treat for the black day. The blackest. When I put that gun in my own mouth, I think. No, don't waste it. Put this lead in that cock, Rene. For the boys he killed. And then I look at him throw those balls, and I suddenly feel better. I even hid one bullet, so I'd always have one for him. Haven't seen him around lately, strutting around. Must be down with arthritis. I hope it hurts like hell. I hope he sweats blood.
Renee is dead. He died of old age a couple of days ago.
No,
Yes.
I waited too long. I waited too long, and now he's dead?
I'm sorry, Mr. Dross. I understand you knew him for a long time.
They're all dead now. Fuck it.
If he really wanted to kill him so bad, he would have done. There must have been 1,000 black days on these islands. His health ailing.
You had 1,000 chances to kill him.
And I blew them all. What does it matter now? He's gone. Ancient dust.
You cared about him?
All human beings care about each other. I cared for seeing his head explode. And now, God damn this world.
Are you okay, Mr. Dross, to go on?
You think I haven't seen people die? It's all I've seen them do. Fuck and die. All the other plans we had. To love. To colonize the Pale. It's all fucked.
He's not okay. This is just another black day in a row of black days. Something strange is keeping him together, making him endure.
I'm glad we talked about this. Now.
Glad we talked about what?
His lip curls into a...
Glad we talked about what?
Josef Vilinovic Dross, you're under arrest for the murder of Alice Courtenay.
What? But you said I would be taken to the...
The wind picks up. The silence on the water is broken all around you. Little shivers of waves appear. The lieutenant continues, like an incantation.
Your wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days. Do you understand? Do you understand?
But...
Do you understand, sir?
No, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead. Pupils are dilated too. Eyes getting blacker and blacker.
Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now onto the boat.
You thought you heard something, but it's just the reeds.
Maybe we could all fit in there.
Does it have room for 3?
Not really. We could escort him to the pier, then either one of us can take him inland while the other stays here, but...
But then, who watches him while you're coming back here?
Who watches him there while I come back for you?
You come back for me? How about I go and send a boat back for you?
What is this farce? This is a fucking farce. I can't.
Lillian. You could ask her, maybe.
Maybe I can just ask that netpicker to watch him.
This is no harmless old man.
Yeah.
This fucking world. This world. What is this?
No, listen. Listen now.
You could come back for me once you've taken him to the precinct. I could come back for you once I've taken him to the precinct.
No, it would take a whole day on this island. You go and transport the prisoner. I'll be here. I can escort him to the pier with you.
Can't save. You go and transport the prisoner. I'll be here. I can escort him to the pier with you. No need to be polite. I'll do it. Or...
This world? What are you talking about? Is this... us?
The wind is cold from the east. Your skin is crawling suddenly.
Uh-oh. What's happening? Is it the Phasmid?
A
What?
delicate tangle of arms and legs unfolds from the reeds, limb by limb, to then just stand there, moving its scythe-like
It's the
arms
Phasmid.
in ghostly silence.
I'm afraid if I blink, it's gonna go. What is that?
What are you talking about?
I don't know what the hell that is.
There's nothing there.
The stick insect is over
What?
3 meters tall. It looks straight at you with its tiny pinprick eyes and its grotesquely small head.
I was not expecting this. Kim, are you seeing this?
You feel your legs shaking under you and your gun hand rise instinctively.
There is. I see it.
Tell me what you see, damn it. I can't make out one small thing in the reeds.
Kim, can you see it?
I can see it.
4 simple words, thank God. If you can see, then you're not insane. But that means it's really there, spinning slowly, in absolute silence, its limbs long and slender.
Be very, very careful.
The creature stands on long stilt-like legs, antennae hanging from its head like a woman's hair, white and curled at the tips. It is no more than 5 steps away from you.
I'm afraid that Dross is gonna run away while we're looking at the Phasmid.
Reed-like tufts stick out of its joints. As the insect moves its forearms, it produces a faint hiss, like a reel-to-reel machine spinning after the tape breaks.
Your corpse will be marked by stars?
As the insect moves its forearms slowly, with your breath held, you take 2 small steps toward the Phasmid. The creature lets out a series of ultrasonic clicks that swarm around your head like swallows. Sweat drips from your brow, soak in your chest. You reek of it, your chemicals. The tracheal system on the creature's abdomen expands in front of you to take in and expel air. It's smelling you. Hissing and clicking, it extends its mandible-like antennae to greet you. You're right below it now, looking up at the colossal chitin of its white limbs. The head of the creature is crowned by reeds, and its eyes are like small droplets of water.
Okay, Kim, take the picture.
Okay.
There is no change in the insect's motion while it's being aimed by the camera. It remains fixated on you.
In 3. If it moves, you jump back. I'll shoot. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
The shrill flash of the camera cuts the air like the blade of a sword. The Phasmid freezes in its bright light. Head turned toward the lieutenant, hypnotized by the flash. It stands frozen before you.
I got it.
We got it.
A shudder pulses through the creature's limbs. It jolts back to life, like a record continuing where it left off, in a swaying, praying motion. Even the small black pearls of its eyes do not stray from you.
Let's back away slowly.
The arthropod follows you with its antennae. As you back off, the The cracks and hisses of the tape that's come to its end grow more distant.
I don't believe it. Investigate the insect until it's no longer there. Okay.
Hissing and clicking, the arthropod,
Actually,
as you're turning away, the phasmid mirrors your movements, stepping on the water, the long limbs carrying its feather weight without breaking its surface.
whoa.
And just like that, it's gone, skating away across the sea's calm mirror like a skipping stone, leaving nothing but circles on the water. And something under it, in the place it stood, bobbing there, among the reeds, a collection of items.
It's gone.
Wow. What now?
What now?
Okay, he's still there.
Our suspect is not looking so good. We need to check on him. Also, it looks like the insect had some kind of nest there. Look, maybe it has left some proof.
Rifle scope and helmet.
What is it? What do you want from me? I can't go.
Something is very wrong with him now.
Sir, how could you not see the phasmid?
See.
Mr. Dross?
The man does not respond. He keeps staring, black eyes glazed over and bulging from their sockets, his gap-toothed mouth shaking, like an addict of some terrible substance.
Snap your fingers under his nose.
A light shiver passes him, followed by nothing. His hands are trembling, and he breathes slowly.
He's going into some kind of psychomotor immobility. The good news is, this solves our transportation problem, doesn't it, Mr. Dross?
The trembling mouth appears to sigh.
Between this and the broken tire he's used for a boat, I think it's safe to leave him here, while we go and get help. It will need to be medical first, I'm afraid.
What has happened to this man?
Old age and shock.
Old age and shock, yes.
The appearance of the phasmid in conjunction with the stress of the arrest. He spent his entire life here. For him to leave would be...
We found some things in the phasmid's nest, Mr. Dross.
He stares into the reeds. Your words don't stir anything in him. Perhaps you should.
Let's show him the scope.
I lost.
You lost it, Mr. Dross?
He turns his eyes to the reeds again, as he's done so many times. Beige and white stripes.
He lost the scope. Then it somehow made its way over there. With the help of a magpie phasmid. This sight is a T9, Mr. Dross. Was it attached to the rifle when you made the shot?
Silence. Not even a sigh.
Show him the helmet.
Nothing. Just dull staring. Not even rage left, wherever he is.
If Kuno kicked it into the sea, as he said he did, the ebb would put it back here. This makes sense. Mr. Dross could have picked it up. Or the phasmid even. If it did, this is incredible.
I'm gonna let you rest now, Mr. Dross.
The plastic cape flaps around his face in a gust of wind. His back is slouched, and his mouth open. The blacks of his eyes are receding. His pupils are returning to normal. The strength has all gone out of him. Just frail old bones in a sack of tracksuit trousers and a windbreaker.
Hang tight.
We should think about getting back to the mainland. To get help. He'll be safe here. If we don't take too long.
Alright. Yeah, so that was a lot in this episode. Man, that conversation with Dross must have taken like it felt like an hour. It went on for a while. So probably the next episode will be the last one for this series, but I don't know. For now, we'll call it here. So thank you everybody so much for being here with me. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Remember to save your progress, and I will see you in the next video.